Let me tell you something that'll make you laugh or maybe want to throw a chair depending on your mood. I once got my door pounded on at 4:50 a.m., not by criminals, not by the cops, but by the damn homeowners association, the HOA. Yeah, that happened. And you know what? What came next wasn't just a neighborly spat over mailbox paint or who left their trash cans out. This was a full-blown siege on paper and court in the neighborhood rumor mill. They came after my home. They forged my name, cooked up fake leases, tried to find me out of existence. And I guess in hindsight, it's a little funny that they picked me because I was the last guy on earth looking for a fight, but I was probably the worst guy they could have messed with. So let me back up a sec. That morning started with fists, 3 of them pounding my front door like they were trying to break into Fort Knox. I jolted up so fast, I swear my old army training snapped on like a light switch. My bare feet hit cold hardwood adrenaline kicking in hand, already reaching under the stairs for my old Glock locked in a biometric box just in case. I peeked through the curtain and saw them 2 dudes in matching windbreakers and a woman in a blazer over pajama pants holding a folder big enough to hold pizza. That's when I knew this wasn't the government, wasn't the cops. It was the Canyon Creek Trails HOA. I opened the door just a few inches and growled, "You've got about 5 seconds to tell me why you're pounding on my door before I call this trespassing." The woman, Karen, of course, steps forward with this power casual confidence like she owned the place. "Mr. Merritt, I'm Karen Sheldon, president of the Canyon Creek Trails Homeowners Association. We're here to serve a formal notice of lease expiration." I just blinked at her. You're what one of the windbreaker guys whips out a laminated eviction notice like we're in a damn episode of Law and Order. Lease expiration, he says, all official like. Section 13, paragraph whatever. And my brain's still in reboot mode because I own this house. Paid cash for it. Got the deed in a manila folder in my office. Never signed a lease with these people in my life. Hell, I wasn't even in their HOA. That was the whole point when I bought this place. Karen clucks her tongue at me like I'm some kid who spilled Kool-Aid on her carpet. "According to our records, you're a tenant. The lease expired at midnight. Under Section 13.7, the premises must now be vacated." And you know, for a split second, I wondered if I'd somehow sleepwalked into an alternate universe. "Lady, I bought this house 3 years ago in cash. Full title transfer. I've never signed anything with your HOA because I'm not in your HOA." Karen just raises her glasses. Perhaps there's confusion. "The document bears your signature." She holds it up. I look. It does have my signature or something that looks like it. Then it's forged, I say, flat. She doesn't even blink, just says, "You'll need to vacate voluntarily or we'll initiate removal procedures." And then get this, she starts dialing the police. So now I'm the guy standing in his own doorway, in his own house, watching a neighbor call the cops on him for existing. 20 minutes later, here come the red and blues. Deputy Cullen, polite as you like, asks to speak to us separately. Karen gives him her little folder full of fake contracts and violations, refused compliance, deterioration of community aesthetic standards. It's HOA Mad Libs. Hey, my turn. I keep it simple. Name's Owen Merritt, former JAG attorney, bought the house 3 years ago, cash deeds legit, not inside the HOA. Karen's trying to strong-arm me with forged documents. Cullen scratches his beard. "You have proof of ownership." "Oh, you bet." I march him to my office, hand him every scrap of paperwork, title, insurance, closing docs, digital deed, the whole 9 yards. Cullen, to his credit, doesn't jump to conclusions, but he does say the words that make me want to punch a hole through the drywall. "This may be a civil matter." Karen stands in the driveway, smug as hell. "We'll see you in court, Mr. Merritt. Do pack soon." They drive off. I stand there, not just angry, calculating. This wasn't confusion. This was a hit job, legal and rehearsed. I've seen this kind of thing overseas, corrupt officials forging paperwork to grab land. But this was Colorado, and they picked the wrong guy. I spent the rest of that night with a pot of black coffee and a pile of paperwork. By sunrise, I was on the phone with the county assessor, my old realtor, and a title attorney from my JAG days. If they wanted war, I'd give them one. By 9 a.m., I was downtown pulling certified copies of everything tied to my lot. The county clerk, Tasha, sharp-eyed, tells me they filed something this morning, request to revise lot classification. Filed at 5:42 a.m. I almost laughed. Karen was trying to change the zoning on my house before sunrise. She prints me the request. Karen's digital signature is on it with an attached lease agreement signed by me from 2022, renting my house from the HOA for 3 years. The thing is so fake, they even listed my old San Antonio P.O. box as my address. By mid-morning, I had all the evidence, notarized deeds, fraud paperwork, in a folder thick enough to use as a weapon. I marched straight to the sheriff's department, filed an official report for attempted real estate fraud and harassment. The officer at the desk just gives me the tired, this might go civil speech. But this wasn't going to be civil for long. Back home, my mailbox is stuffed with a red envelope, Canyon Creek logo, final payment notice. Urgent. Inside, a bogus invoice for $9,300 in unpaid lease dues and late fees. There's even a QR code to settle online. I install new cameras and a motion sensor. These folks seem desperate, and I'm not taking any chances. That afternoon, my old realtor Melanie calls me. She's furious. The HOA's been calling her asking if she can confirm I signed a lease in 2022. She forwards me a PDF. Same forged doc, only this time they threw in a fake e-signature timestamp, like that somehow made it real. I checked the metadata. Rookie mistake, the signature was backdated, but the PDF was created that morning. And then the twist. Around 5, my neighbor Dale comes over. Dale's an old Marine Vietnam vet, still wears his cap everywhere. "You all right, son?" he asks. "Karen's been talking around the block telling folks you're squatting." I show him my deed. Dale just grunts. That woman's been trying to swallow this side of the block for years. Just no one ever pushed back. I ask if he'd testify. He just nods. Damn right. That night, I started building my case. Digitized everything. Set up a Dropbox folder titled Fake Lease and Fraud Documentation. I wasn't just playing defense. I was getting ready to go scorched earth. Next morning, glossy HOA letters land on every doorstep in the neighborhood, warning about non-compliant occupants. My address by number right there with some snide note about community values. My phone explodes. Neighbors are confused. Some are pissed. A few ask if I really am being evicted. Some start treating me like I've got the plague. But I didn't fold. Printed 200 flyers with a notarized copy of my deed and a link to all the proof, then walked door to door for 6 blocks. Some neighbors looked away. Others listened. 1 or 2 nearly threw their HOA letters in the fireplace. That afternoon, the real game changer landed. Mara Espinoza, a journalist from the Front Range Sentinel, emailed me. She'd seen my flyers, said she'd been following HOA overreach cases for years. This one's got it all: fraud, forged docs, early morning drama. Can I come by for a statement? You bet. Meanwhile, my lawyer Macy calls. They officially filed suit this morning. HOA versus Owen Merritt. Motion for eviction based on the forged lease. They're also throwing in failure to maintain lawn standards and unauthorized firearm possession. I bark out a laugh. What firearm? Your Glock. Macy says. They'd found the reference in my police report and tried to use it as proof I was violating lease terms on a lease that never existed. It's nonsense, but nonsense filed in court is still a headache. That night, 2 more HOA goons show up, measuring wheel and chalk in hand, trying to mark compliance boundaries on my property. I step out and give them 6 seconds to leave before I start filming and call the cops. They bolt. The new cameras catch it all in 4K. Next morning, Mara shows up, takes it all in fake lease bogus, finds my mountain of proof. She whistles. They're good. Not smart, but bold. Her article goes live that afternoon. Veteran faces illegal eviction by HOA over forged lease. Comments online go nuclear. Some folks are outraged. Others say I'm lying. No one could be that bold. Someone links a Reddit thread, HOA horror stories, this one takes the cake. That night, I find a note in my mailbox. No HOA branding, just a sheet that says, "Get out while you still can." Some rules can't be rewritten. I take it to Macy. She calls it a dog whistle HOA speak for "we're in charge" rules or gospel. We file a police report, but Macy's got better ammo. Meet your new favorite person, Jerome Connolly, forensic doc examiner. He just finished his report. The conclusion: the signature's a fraud, the digital stamp backdated, the document manipulated. He'll testify. Macy files a counterclaim for fraud, forgery, harassment, and defamation. We're on offense now. But I dig deeper. I go through every old email, every closing doc, every scanned signature. Turns out the signature on the fake lease was copy-pasted from an old mortgage app I'd submitted, withdrawn a week later, but the PDF was still in my files. Check the downloads, one extra by a bank employee named Gavin Hall. Guess who now works in property compliance at Canyon Creek HOA? Yeah, you can't make this up. I call Macy. We've got a data breach. Now we're talking criminal. That night, I unearth a zoning map from 2004. My lot, 117A, is clearly outside the HOA boundary. In 2009, there was a pending expansion, but it was never approved. Someone had sat on that fantasy for over a decade. Karen was just trying to finish the job. Morning comes, and my mailbox is hit again, this time with a $15,000 invoice and a color-coded map magically extending the HOA zone to include my property. The email bombs follow mass newsletter branding me as a non-compliant occupant, screenshots flying across Facebook, Nextdoor, Reddit. Strangers DM me, some supportive, some calling me a squatter, a few asking if I'm the rogue veteran taking on the HOA mafia. Then Karen goes live. She stands in front of the community center and gives a press conference talking about community cohesion and reclaiming assets. I get a call from Mara. This woman thinks she's running for office. We fire back with our own statement. If I'm a squatter, then the sun is rented and the air comes with a usage fee. The court sets a full evidentiary hearing. Finally, showtime. Finally, I show up in my dress blues. Macy's got our war table of exhibits, deed, metadata, expert, witnesses. Karen arrives with her legal team navy suits, the whole show. The judge, old and unflappable, runs a tight ship. Karen's lawyer lays out their whole fantasy lease bylaws, asset recovery, then drops the fake lease on the judge's desk like a bomb. Macy goes slow and steady. Full title transfer, notarized, recorded with the county. Then the smoking gun, our handwriting analyst, overlays my real signature and the fake 1 pixel for pixel side by side on a projector. Karen squirms. But Macy's got a surprise. Daniel Price, a former bank employee, testifies he sold my mortgage file, including my signature, to a real estate contact named Karen Sheldon. The courtroom goes dead quiet. Karen tries to laugh it off, babbling about the best interest of the community. That's not law, that's just entitlement. The judge recesses. No ruling yet, but the air's changed. Next day he calls us in, declares the lease void and fraudulent. The HOA has no jurisdiction. Then, staring straight at Karen, he recommends criminal prosecution, fraud, forgery, attempted unlawful eviction. Her lawyer bails. The sheriff cuffs her right there in court. Echoes like a cannon. He rules on my countersuit, $800,000 from the HOA fund and Karen's insurance. The gallery erupts. Someone shouts, "You bankrupted us." I step outside into a sea of reporters. How's it feel to bring down an HOA president? Wasn't about bringing anyone down, I say. It's about the deed. It's about proving you can't just fake your way into someone's life. The HOA collapses. Board resigns, funds frozen, audit starts. Turns out Karen spent HOA money on a new kitchen and a failed wellness retreat involving massage chairs. The fallout's nuclear. But me, I'm finally left alone. I host a cookout for the neighbors who stood by me. Frank, the retired postman, hands me an old envelope. It's the original waiver, signed and notarized, excluding my lot from HOA authority, tucked away for a decade. I upload it to the county archive myself. Karen's indicted. Her bond hearing is a funeral march. The civil award lands, and after taxes and fees, I've got enough to finish my house, build a workshop, finally put in the hot tub I kept promising myself. But more than the money, I got back my peace, my land, my future, my right to sleep in without fearing the HOA. I put up a new sign on my gate: private property not subject to HOA. Trespassers will be educated. Maybe dramatic, but I earned it. One morning, 2 city workers drive by, laughing, snap a photo, give me a thumbs up. Felt better than the court win, honestly. By fall, the neighborhood changed quieter, emptier, some homes for sale, some folks still salty. Property values dipped, but nobody could deny the truth. One guy, one forged lease, one massive miscalculation. I got a handwritten apology from Karen's husband, said he was filing for divorce and leaving the state. I never replied. Didn't need to. Later, I gave a talk at a real estate seminar in Denver. Macy introduced me as the guy who taught an HOA what private property means. Standing ovation. People asked if I'd write a book. For me, though, the real legacy wasn't a court win or going viral. It was the quiet. Walking my land at sunrise, coffee and hand dog at my heels. No HOA letters, no clipboards, no more Karen. So what do you think is justice? Just a word on paper, or does it live and breathe when ordinary folks stand up and say enough? Drop your thoughts below. Have you ever tangled with an HOA or seen someone fight back when the system tried to steamroll them? Let's hear your stories. Because if there's one thing I learned, it's this. Sometimes the only way to keep your home is to raise a little hell.